កម្មវិធីកិច្ចសន្ទនាកម្ពុជានិងពិភពលោក
Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, today I have a great honor to have a good friend, Ambassador Eva Nguyen Binh. She accepted to come to our show for a very good reason, is that I think next week, or this week, they're going to have a major French event, which I'm not going to mention. I will leave to the ambassador to share with you. But I want to take this opportunity also to enlarge the dialogue more on the Cambodia and French relationship, diplomatic, business, a bit of everything. But I think this is a good opportunity because Cambodia and France have a very, very long relationship going back 100 years already. And I think it's a good moment to take stock also where we are and how can we look for the future. So, Ambassador, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, since you are new to the show, maybe I like to ask you to, say a few words about yourself.
Thank you very much, Siphana. So I'm new to the show, and I can say I'm almost new to Cambodia as well, because I took my position as French ambassador to Cambodia early June last year. So it's not even 10 months since I arrived. But so I'm a career diplomat. I entered the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1994. And since then, I had a diplomatic career. So I've been posted to France, in Paris, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but also to India, to Portugal, to Vietnam, now to Cambodia. I have worked extensively on Asia, both on political relations and also on cooperation, technical cooperation and cultural action. I also work on EU affairs. I was in the EU department in Paris. And let me mention also that I worked for the private sector. As I spent a few years in the tire company called Michelin, because I wanted to enlarge my horizons and experience, and that was a great thing to do. So it is somehow a dream come true to be posted as ambassador to Cambodia. This is my first assignment as ambassador, and I'm very proud and happy to be here.
Well, welcome, Ambassador. You mentioned quite recent 10 months, but I think it's about the same time that President Macron was elected president of France. And if people follow the French politics, his leitmotif is France is back. What does it mean? Perhaps you can, explain a bit.
I met with President Macron in August when I went back to Paris, and he made a speech, in front of all the French ambassadors. And it is true that his leitmotif is really France is back. Mm-hmm. And as you know, he has taken very strong stance on the international scenes, mm-hmm. in the European Union, concerning the climate change, but also vis-à-vis Russia, vis-à-vis the USA, and
G20.
The G20. He was in China very recently, so he's very active on the international scene. But I have to say, internally in France, he has launched numerous and far-reaching reforms to overhaul the French social system, to make France more dynamic, more attractive, and so definitely is very determined that France be, a country in which you have more economic growth, a country that makes its stance very clearly heard on the international scene, and a country that provides ideas, innovation, solutions, also to tackle the global challenges the world is facing. So yes, that's what it means that France is back. I think that's what it means, really.
Well, I think you touch a bit just in your introduction about being in the private sector. I think it's quite important because people look at, nonetheless, in Europe, France as a major player, along with Germany. But what precisely, if you don't mind elaborating a bit more on his measure that he's introducing to help the business community. And I think it's very important to if we are to attract also investment to France, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I think there are several objectives for President Macron. First is to create jobs, more employment. So it means also allowing companies, private sector, to create more employment. So it means, making the French environment an environment that is more business oriented, business friendly, and also to be able to attract more foreign investors. So he launched a reform on tax. He also wants companies to have, a more previsible environment. So it means, when you have to make reshuffles in your company, how do you do that? More previsibility.
Okay.
At the same time, he doesn't want to forget the employees, and he wants to provide the employees, and everybody who's looking for a job, a clearer career path.
Yes.
So, it's a fine balance to find, but he has launched numerous reforms to do that. And just to give you an example, he has organized last January a big summit called the Choose France Summit.
Oh yeah, you're right. In
Summit.
Versailles, no?
It was
in
absolutely, you followed that. It was in the Versailles Castle.
Yes.
And he invited 140 major international companies like Facebook, Toyota, etc. And they pledged $3.5 billion investments in France. And just recently, a couple of days ago, Disney, the Disney company, pledged $2 billion investment to enlarge and develop their Disney theme park in Paris.
But speaking of Disney and tourism, how many tourists go to France every year?
Well, France is, I believe, the first destination, first touristic destination in the world. So it's 85 million. 85 million. And the objective of the government is to reach 100.
Wow.
But so we have many tourists, but according to our statistics, they spend less in France than in the other countries.
Oh, why?
For example, on Sunday, what do?
Yes.
You visit museums, but you also want to go shopping. Many shops are closed in France on Sunday.
Oh,
so they will
you're
go to
right.
London, they will go to other countries. So this is something also,
So Lafayette is closed on Sunday?
Depending on the shops.
Okay.
Some are open, some are closed. And
interesting.
Yeah. And I think French people are very attached also to have their Sunday as a rest day. So you have to be, you have to be aware of the hardship of balancing private life, professional life. So it's a fine balance against to find. But the government is really determined to have more tourists. More tourists and see what we can do to attract more tourists. We're talking about tourists, but one of the big priorities of the French government is also foreign students.
Yes.
So
I'm one.
I knew that, but I'm happy that you confirm it. So France is the third destination in the world for students who want to study abroad, and every year we welcome 300,000 students.
How many Cambodian? If you know the statistics.
Every year we have 600 Cambodians who go to France to study. Among whom 1/3 goes with grants. So it means 2/3 go.
2/3 with their own
and
resource.
They don't even go through the embassy. We just
on
have
their
the
own
statistics. So it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. So we do it because we really think that having all these foreigners in France is a wealth, for us. It enriches France. So we really want to have more as well. It's the same for researchers. Research is very important for the future of a country. Sometimes it's hard to get that message across because we just think, okay, researchers, what do they look for, whatever. But it's very important to build the future of a country.
Ambassador, I can tell you, about when I came back in '93. To work with the UN, and we struggle to find. Of course, the older generation speaks some French, right? Speaks French, but the young generation forget about it, right? It's very difficult. We almost lost at one time, right? But you move forward 20 years later, you have many Cambodian. You mentioned about 600 per year, so you sort of multiply by 10 or 15 years. So now you can imagine. About a good 5,000 or 6,000 are somewhere out there in the public administration, in the private sector, in the civil society. They're there. I can feel now that you can find a community of French speaking people now.
And Siphana, I would like also to say that for me, for us, it is very important to try and get in touch with these people who have studied in France or who have studied in Cambodia, but in French affiliated schools or universities like, say, Lycée Descartes or Law University or whatever. We call them alumni.
Alumni, yes.
Alumni. So I am very, very determined to develop the network of alumni. And so we have launched a Facebook page for the alumni. We have launched a platform. I invite you to click on the Facebook page of France Cambodia, alumni France Cambodia, so that you can join our network. And I'm planning several events this year to make this network live, because we want to get in touch. I want to know them. But many times they also tell us that they want to get in touch, and they want to be in touch between themselves. Like it's so nice for them when we organize, network, professional network, or a party. They see the friend with whom they have studied in France, some years back.
Indeed.
It's their youth that comes back. So I think it's a very good opportunity.
Well, I'm going to take a short break, but I just when we come back, I want to start moving a bit more into what does it mean that France is back, right? But before I stop, I just want to say that the reason I go back to school in France, right, is more to achieve a childhood dream unfulfilled. Because I went Lycée Descartes, and then the war stopped everything, and then there's a big gap. So now, as I'm getting older, I want to crown the end of my career life with a good degree from France. So we'll take a short break, Ambassador.
Thank you very much.
Ambassador, France is back. Back? But what do you mean? France has always been here.
Yes, no, it's true. In Cambodia and in the world, France has always been there. It doesn't mean that we cannot do more, that we can do better. So that's the idea, I think France is back means we have a lot of ambitions. A lot of ambitions. And I think we have all what it takes to carry out these ambitions. So I think these are very interesting times. And I think it is very exciting to be part of this movement.
For Cambodia, I think I see a resurgence of interest from the part of French company in Cambodia. I think, of course, you have some major one that every day in our life we see at the airport, that sort of thing, Total. But there are other company that come back, medium-sized company. But what is your view in terms of enhancing Cambodia visibility vis-a-vis the French future investor, for example?
I think first of all, you're very right. Cambodia is a country that interests many investors from many countries, as you know, but also from France. So that's for sure. And also we have historical successes here for French companies. So we have some big groups, but we also have so many numerous, smaller companies who do very well and really appreciate also doing business in Cambodia. At the same time, French companies have the whole world they can invest in. So we have to also tell them what Cambodia is about. We have to explain what Cambodia is about, because indeed history plays in the favor of relations between France and Cambodia. But on that history, you have to build the future. So I think it is, people love Cambodia. In France, people just love Cambodia. You talk about Cambodia, many of them have already been here or they dream of coming here. So the positive basis is there. As far as business is concerned, now we have to convince that it is a best or a better place to invest in than in other countries or neighboring countries. So there is a lot of explanation.
But Master, I think business to me in a bilateral relation between countries that have such a long relation way back in more than nearly 200 years, I think culture matter. A lot of, I would say, people-to-people exchange matter quite a bit. But France is doing quite a bit in terms of cultural preservation, in terms of ODA, Agence Française Développement. What are they doing for that?
Actually, France is doing a lot in all sectors. So you're mentioning heritage. Indeed, we've been working for 25 years or even more, but 25 years is the age of the ICC, the International Coordination Committee for ENCOR. So culture, we also promote French culture, but also not only French culture, because we're talking about dialogue between Cambodian and French culture. One big priority for us, and you're talking about ODA, is also to contribute to the development of Cambodia. Water sanitation, professional training, vocational training, but also to contribute to the training, education, higher education of the people of Cambodia. And I think Cambodia needs that. And this is what we have been about, you know, higher education cooperation, research cooperation, grants. But there are so many other areas in which we also contribute, you know. And I think I think Cambodian people know that. I mean, they know that. My thing is also to try and develop what we're doing, but also to develop the visibility of what we're doing. And to develop the visibility of what we're doing, we also need, you know, collective initiative. So let me mention two initiatives that are coming up.
All right. Yes.
And please, let me invite you to these initiatives. So the first one, and it's the French Week in Siem Reap. So I want to show that to the camera. This is the first time we will have an event over 4 days, from the 7th to the 10th of March in Siem Reap.
French Week.
All right. The French Week.
Semaine française.
Semaine française.
I have to say something in Khmer for the audience. សប្តាហ៍របស់បារាំងក្រុងសៀមរាប. All right.
So I just want to say, tous à Siem Reap. Let's all go to Siem Reap for this, because it's organized by a Chamber of Commerce, a Franco-Cambodian Chamber of Commerce, and a group of local entrepreneurs who have been here for many years, who love Cambodia, who talk with Cambodian partners every day. So it's about promoting savoir-faire, the artisans, and the products from France, but in a very open way. We promote France in the sense that it is cooperating with Cambodia and with Cambodian people. So we will have like a French village in front of the Raffles Hotel, so really in the heart of the city. 34 booths of French companies, NGOs, associations presenting their savoir-faire. But all in all, we have 50 companies taking part in this. And on Saturday, the 10th of March, the French Week will end up with a fashion show of designers and a dancing party. You know, it is very French. You know, the Bastille Day always ends up in a dancing party. So indeed, I will be there. I'd be happy if you could come as well. And just after that, in Phnom Penh.
I was about to ask.
Right.
Are you doing something in Phnom Penh also?
We're doing something in Phnom Penh. And so we're doing the French fortnight. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So it is also organized by the Franco-Cambodian Chamber of Commerce with indeed the support of the embassy. So there will be numerous events on French companies. There will also be like a French market presenting also the savoir-faire, visits to French company, roundtable, workshops. As far as I am concerned.
What day is that? What day will it be held?
It starts on the 19th of March for 2 weeks. And there will be this operation called Good Friends on French gastronomy in 10 restaurants in Cambodia.
I'm hungry already.
But you can join this operation. So, 2 restaurants will be in Siem Reap taking part in this operation, and 8 in Phnom Penh. So everything is on Facebook, is on the internet. I just want to highlight one project that I have, and I'm so happy it's becoming a reality. I will have 2 days of Open Doors Day at the residency of the French Embassy, and you know we have a beautiful
park. Yes.
So my project is that it's Open Doors Day, and people can come and walk in the park, but will be
anything special?
Yes. We have 7 Cambodian artists making pieces of art especially for that day. So I call it the art in the park, because basically
in the park.
Art in the park. So basically you come, so you have the chance to see the embassy, the residency, which is indeed close to the public normally.
Are they Cambodian artists or French artists?
Cambodian artists. More than half of them are alumni. They have studied in France. They have studied in France. And so we asked them, you know, what do you feel about this idea to have pieces of art in the park? You can make big sculptures, and they were so enthusiastic because it's a fabulous way to highlight what they're about, to talk to the public. For me, it's fantastic because we have 7 artists who are really, famous and experienced.
Yes.
It's contemporary art.
Contemporary art, yes.
So you come, you see contemporary art, and at the same time you see a beautiful park. So 24th, 25th, it's for free. All these events are for free.
Okay.
And open to anyone. And I think it's, I'm talking about France, we're talking about business. We should talk about values as well, spirit.
Indeed.
And France is a lot about being open to the other cultures. And France is a lot about the dialogue between cultures.
Yes.
So we have this idea about France not being closed on its own culture. We don't even know what it means, but just to be open and in cooperation.
And sometimes because in the morning sometimes I drive to work past the embassy, and it's quite pleasant when you have on the wall, the fence there, right? Different
so we have
artists, that sort of thing.
Photo Phnom Penh Festival.
Yes, Photo Phnom Penh. And these are the things that opens eye, sometimes when you see an embassy, you see it's very, sort of like, like a fortress, is that a place I should go or not? But here, it's a place that welcomes people to walk and look. Wow. The EU, embassy is the same thing.
Yeah.
They have this.
They have these sculptures on their wall.
This is quite interesting.
Well, at the same time, the embassy is not a public place.
Yes.
There is the visa department or whatever, so we cannot open all the time. And there are some security issues indeed as well.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, I feel that if I can create events or opportunities to make the most of the people to see what we are about, to create opportunities to discuss, explain what we are doing, I think that's great. Because as you said, many people just wonder, what does an ambassador?
Yes.
Except going to cocktails. But I work so hard. I'm happy to share what I do,
Indeed. Well, I think what I want to cover next is, I want to squeeze the opportunity while you're here to after the break that we can talk a bit about the relation between Cambodia and France as a whole, and perhaps look a bit in the future. How do we see that relationship, in what area, cooperation, and I'm pretty sure the audience, particularly the younger generation, will be quite keen to hear your vision a bit about this bilateral relationship, which I know it's very rich anyway. All right, so we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back. We'll continue on for the last segment. Ambassador, okay, let's go a little bit on a larger issue. I think we covered quite well on what's happening in France, and I'm glad to see that France is back. But for Cambodia, as a long-term, country that have such a long history, we also would like to see the future. What's your vision of Cambodia and France relation?
Well, and you already said it. Cambodia and France have a relation that is really enshrined in history, enshrined in the amazing human links that exist between the populations, and I think that's fantastic.
Yes,
that's really fantastic. At the same time, the world is evolving, Cambodia is evolving, the region is evolving, and indeed there are major players here: China, Japan, so many other countries. And I think France has a lot to offer, is doing a lot, and has been doing a lot, and will continue to do a lot, so that's for sure. But at the same time, I am convinced that we are more in the process, and we will be more and more in the process of attracting, convincing. Nothing is given for granted. So, this is more my mindset. How can I attract Cambodian people to France? For example, I met a few of young Cambodian entrepreneurs. Amazing qualities, doing great. And I always ask them, what is your image of France? What do you think about France? And they all have this very positive image. But for business, it also happens that sometimes they tell me, maybe old country, maybe a bit slow country.
Yes.
And I think this is very important to let them know that things are changing, things are moving fast.
Yes.
France is not old, France is not slow.
Yes,
and
yes.
you know, there is a lot of explanation to do as well to these people who don't know maybe France so well. And I think, coming back to what I was saying, I see my job also as convincing.
Yes.
You know, giving information, attracting.
Yes.
And this is how we will be able to build the future.
Yes.
And if I may, I think it is the same for the French language.
Yes.
You mentioned it before. Yes,
indeed.
And indeed, in France, many people tell me, oh, you know, in Cambodia, fewer and fewer people speak French. First, I have to say, I am so impressed by the number of people who speak French.
Yes,
I
indeed.
am so impressed. And the level of the French Cambodian people speak is just amazing. But indeed, you know, more and more people, you know, are also attracted to Chinese language, Japanese, German, indeed English.
It's all right.
And it's all right, and it's perfectly understandable.
That's diversity in a globalized world.
And diversity, I mean, no one wants a world in which everybody speak the same language.
Yes.
Everybody think the same way.
Yes.
So diversity for me is what makes our world interesting. We have to preserve that.
Yes.
At the same time, I think we are not anymore in a world in which one foreign language is enough.
Yes.
We are already in a world in which two foreign languages is enough.
Yes. And I would say, I mean, for Cambodia, it's a natural anyway. So it's not like we're making effort. Historically it's there. And you know, when you speak young generation, don't forget that they have their parent generation. And this is indirectly a subtle sort of like influence already, right? To me, you know, I always encourage that, look, it doesn't matter that you go to an English school or whatever, but if you can have an additional language, for that matter, it's a plus, it's a bonus. And I want to say that contrary to what people say, oh, we have competition with other language, I see a steady climb of Cambodian who are speaking French. And thanks again to the scholarship that every year, you know, France and also through La Francophonie, they've been quite active. But you see, once you get a critical mass, the trick is now we are in a critical mass. We can entertain by email in French, and immediately it just opened up.
Siphana, if I just, you're talking about critical mass, and I think you're exactly right. And I just want to underline that in the world, 280 million people, and very soon 300 million people, speak French.
Yes.
So it's an amazing opportunity. I mean, it's a world language.
Yes.
It's really much a world language. But again, I think we also have to explain why should you learn French.
Yes.
I mean, there's no exclusive. You should also learn other languages.
Yes.
I mean, because that's what makes you or anyone also interesting.
Yes.
But why should you learn French? You know, what are the opportunities for studies abroad, for example?
Exactly.
What are the opportunities for working?
Yes.
What are the opportunities for, I don't know,
for business, for joint
business,
venture? Nothing stop you to go to France, find some good partner, and do business together.
Absolutely.
Whether in France, in some province, or in Cambodia, it doesn't matter. And language to me is a bridge. People certainly feel relaxed when you can. Just a matter of fact, it was just last week I gave a speech to a group of the Nordic group. They asked, is that okay if I can give a speech? So I thought they were a Nordic group, right? So I went there, and suddenly two gentlemen approached me in French. So we start speaking French, and suddenly it's all like the mood changed, you know.
We have the same values. We have the same. You know, we also think that French language is about the language, but it's about the values that it carries with it.
Yes.
It's about the cultures, and I say cultures plural.
Yes.
Because not only France and French people speak French, indeed, and we are very proud and happy to share this. You know, it's not only a language, it's not only communication. It's way deeper than that as well.
Well, speaking of culture, I would say that for those Cambodian, and this I'm speaking to the audience, that it's like Uncle Wat. If you don't go, you just cannot tell how formidable the feeling is. When you go to Paris, you know, it's hard to explain. It's the feeling of awe to look at that architecture, to look at that urban planning, to look at the Eiffel Tower, to look at this big monument. You know, it's hard to
eat an éclair au chocolat.
Yes, exactly. And then it's the same thing for Frenchmen or women who come to Cambodia and go to Siem Reap. It's hard to explain the feeling when they see this the seven wonders of the world. So I think we should really make a lot of effort to promote more of this people-to-people exchange, right? Student, as you say, you know, when you study somewhere, you have a relationship, you have a certain impression, and that's why for me, sadly, because of the war in the 70s, my high school education was disrupted. But you know, you grew up with a French education, and it's there. The first impression in your life is always there, right? And then one day, God knows, you know, it's there looking, right? So I say, okay, well, you know.
You know, Siphana, when I listen to you, first I think it is very moving also to listen to your personal experience, but I feel even more responsibility. When I listen to people talk about France, the image they have of France, of French education, French culture, talk to me like that, I feel, whoa, I have this huge responsibility here in Cambodia to represent that,
Yes.
and to be up to
Yes.
the expectations.
Yes.
So, so you give me more work.
Well, Ambassador, we're coming to the end of the program. Perhaps I want to give you a few minutes to maybe some message for the audience. Yes.
Well, I have to say that first of all, I am very proud and honored to be here in Cambodia. I think Cambodia and France, we know it do a lot together, and we have more to do together. And I also want to make an appeal to all Cambodian people, and maybe also to the young Cambodian people. Come to us. We will come to you anyway, and choose France.
All right. That was a short pitch, but powerful. So I'm just gonna wrap up by saying that we for a short discussion we did cover quite a bit, you know, from what's happening in France, what's happening in France and Cambodia, what's happening in Siem Reap, what's also happening inside the embassy in France. I look forward to see the art in the park, right?
Art in the park.
Yeah. I also, from the program, I have a quick glance. It's also a fashion show, right?
In Siem Reap. Yeah,
Wow,
Saturday, yeah.
That's a lot of things happening. But on the serious side, I think looking forward to the future, I believe we should build on that strength. We're not starting from scratch. We have a good foundation already. Like I said, after the peace process, in fact, we have to say thank you for the government of France as being one of the initiator of the Paris Agreement that brought us peace and stability and prosperity now. These are historical, I would say, legacy that will always be there. Let's be real about that. And we need to build on that. But to build is about people. And with all respect to the elder generation, they've done their share. To me, I think I want to encourage more for the younger generation to take on that flambeau, that torch,
guiding light.
Yes, to carry forward, build on this strength of this the diaspora in France, for example, and also the community of French-speaking in Cambodia. There's enough critical mass now that we can go to the next step. And I think with the right effort, we could see an exponential growth of this relationship, whether in business or in diplomatic relation, or for that matter, in education. I think that's basically how I see the foundation of our future will lie on, is getting the young people to understand, to appreciate each other's culture.
Absolutely.
So, Ambassador, once again, I want to say thank you.
Thank you very much,
And
Siphana.
congratulations for
Thank you.
France Week.
Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you. Yeah. All right, so we're coming to the end of the program. And I just wish you all to go to Siem Reap. And if you are not in Siem Reap, make sure you make the time for the end this month to visit the French embassy and enjoy the art in the park. All right, good night.